1946. And my father at that time was working at Warner Robins Air Force Base just south of Macon. We stayed there actually no more than about 9 months, and my father was assigned to establish the first American base in the Northern Islands of Japan at a place called Chiamachi, and so that became known as Camp Chiamachi. He was with the 101st Airborne Division, and once he got the first camp up and running, he sent for his wife, a young girl of 18, and his son. We traveled up to New York and got on a boat and went over to Japan. Much of my youth was spent overseas. After Japan, we came back for a short period of time to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, where Dad was with the 101st. From that point, we moved to Salzburg, Austria. We were in Salzburg for a couple of years, and then from Salzburg, transferred to the 82nd Airborne Division, and we were in Stuttgart, Germany. So as a young child, I was speaking half Japanese and half German, and much to the chagrin of my conservative grandfather back in Georgia.
That's your grandfather's shadow.
Yes.
I know that's his study in your man.
I think so. Yeah, that picture was taken on my grandfather's had a fairly large cotton farm. One day, as the story goes, I was outside. My grandfather took his hat off and put it on my head and stuck his cigar, as he would call it, in my mouth. Took a picture of me there on his farm. When I was a young Boy Scout. Brother was a Cub Scout, and I was a Boy Scout. When we finally returned to the States, we moved back to Fort Bragg, where Dad transferred to the 82nd Airborne Division. It's the picture of my Little League baseball team. And I love baseball, and I was the all-star pitcher for Fort Bragg, and we made it to a state, lost by a score of 1-0 for the state title. But, you know, you can't win them all. So when we first came back to the United States, I went to school at Fort Bragg, and we went to high school there, and I graduated from Fayetteville Senior High School. I had a choice at that time. In my mind, I either wanted to go to the University of North Carolina, like a lot of my friends were there, or to Florida State. And so I decided to go to Florida State, and went there. To this day, my arm starts doing the war chant during the fall. My children have similarly become afflicted. And grandchildren. So the whole family is made up now of a bunch of rabbit similes.
What about when you looked like a Van Hungarian right there?
Well, I had bachelor's and master's degrees in audiology and speech and hearing science, and I was a young assistant professor in a university in Texas. I used to teach speech and hearing science and audiology, so that's a picture of me there, and an audiologist in a hospital in Ohio. I started a clinical rotation or affiliation with students from Kent State University, and that's where I sort of discovered my love for teaching. I was a professor for much of my career, and went up the ranks and taught in different universities, and stepped out one day and excused myself to go to the bathroom, and lo and behold, I was elected department chair. Been in higher education for about 37 years, and I started out with a doctoral teaching fellowship at Kent State, and accepted really my first professorial appointment at Bowling Green State University. It lasted about 2 years until the first winter storm hit, and I came to full cognizance that I was misplaced as a Southern boy up in the frozen wasteland of the North. So after a short period of time, about 2 years, I accepted a position at Lamar University in Texas. After serving there about 10 years, and having served as department chair for about 5, I was asked to join faculty at Northern Kentucky University in the greater Cincinnati area as a dean of the College of Professional Studies, and did that for about 5 years, and I was fortunate enough to be invited to be a dean of health sciences at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston. I was in Charleston approximately 9 years. During that time, I was the dean of the College of Health Sciences, but I was also a professor of physical medicine. And from Charleston, the Medical University, I accepted a position as provost, chief academic officer at Texas A&M University. And so I returned to Texas, and I was glad I did because I met my bride there. And Maury and I became fast friends. Remember, I'm really a Southern boy. I found the best thing that existed in the state of Texas, Miss Maury, and brought her home. It shows a picture of Maury and I in a gondola in San Antonio. I had paid the gondolier some money so that he wouldn't take on any passengers. We professed our dying love for one another in that gondola around San Antonio. Undying love. That's right. An interesting thing about our early romance was that we both worked at Texas A&M.
I worked in the president's office.
And I was the provost. The provost is the number 2 person. The problem is a lot of the operations of the university report through the provost, and that included Miss Maury's functions. We were both footloose and fancy-free, and it was very clear that we both had affection for one another, but it was awkward. I couldn't show that affection until one day I gathered the courage, and it took her to profess my affection for her. She said she felt a similar way. Why, I have no idea to this day. I'm a very lucky man. But she did. She decided that she would leave the university, a job which she loved dearly. That's how I know that she really loved me. Once she did that, I went to see my president, and it was right before she left, and I told the president that I had affection, feelings for Maury, and that she would be leaving. And his first words were, John, the truth is, why don't you consider leaving and let him stay? Maybe that would have been a wiser course of action. So that's kind of how things started for Maury and I, and got to know her family and sisters and children from a previous marriage. And might mention that Maury and I together have 7 children and 9 grandchildren. The picture shows my daughter Tracy and I in front of our Texas Cadillac.
I couldn't believe they bought a pickup truck. He had never had a truck before.
Yeah, but I hope this makes Glenn Ritchie feel good because the rest is so wild. Some pictures show my children graduating from college. I'm very proud of all of our children. Son Scott, he graduated with his master's degree from the University of South Carolina. My daughter Tracy, aka Sugar Bear, and that's when she graduated from college in Charleston. Our daughter Sarah at Doug Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee after she graduated with a baccalaureate degree from Florida State. Then my oldest son, Michael, graduated from Charleston Southern University with a baccalaureate degree in engineering, and then graduated with a master's degree from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University at Charleston. I was able to hood my son with his master's degree hood, and the ceremony itself was on the USS Yorktown in Charleston Harbor. So that was a very special evening.
Several of these pictures are from family trips made to Doug Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee to attend Florida State football games. The kids were trying to get their dad to benefit a little bit, so that's why he turned his null hat sideways.
We were feeling very good. That was right after FSU beat Florida. One day I received a call that I had been nominated for the job at Embry-Riddle. I wanted to know if I knew what Embry-Riddle was, and I told him at that point that I thought he had the John Johnson. Came to Daytona Beach, I interviewed at Embry-Riddle. I absolutely loved the passion and the people that I found at Embry-Riddle. One of the first questions from faculty groups, Dr. Johnson, do you have a passion for flying? I said, no, I don't have a passion for flying. Let me tell you what I have a passion for. I have a passion for knowledge acquisition and learning. I have a passion for teaching. I have a passion for knowledge discovery. I have a passion for advancing and sharing that information with a new generation of students that are going to go into the world and do wonderful and great things. When you move to a place and you instinctively like the people that you're working with, you respect them, and you like the community that you're living in, then you have a sense of permanence. And that was important to me because I had grown up as a child living all over the world, and this was an opportunity to really bond with the community, and I did so. When I became president, I brought all of my vice presidents and deans together, and I talked about the importance of being of service to the community, and that I had that expectation. I think as a result, we have become a more integral part of Daytona Beach extended family, as well as our commitment and love of Embry-Riddle and all the things that we're doing there at that great university. We have wonderful faculty, wonderful students, wonderful staff, and it's through their effort that we have achieved what we have achieved. We added the first PhD program in aviation and the second PhD program in engineering physics, both fully subscribed. At the end of 2013, the fall semester, we are beginning the third PhD program in aerospace engineering. We have been very aggressive in our research and in offering degree programs in unmanned aerial vehicles and in green technology. We're working with General Motors to develop a new high-efficiency, ecologically friendly automobile. We've been working on biofuels. Our airplanes fly without contaminating the atmosphere and also making flight more fuel efficient, and that will reduce operating costs for our industry. We are currently building a new College of Arts and Sciences building that's going to be a 140,000 square foot building that will house the largest university-based telescope in the state and support our astronomy program and astrophysics program and strengthen the work we're doing in sciences. So in addition to having what everybody knows and everybody agrees is the best college of aviation in the world, we also have the #1 rated aerospace engineering program in the United States for 13 consecutive years, by the way. And I don't plan to give that ranking up during my presidency. Next generation technology and developing a model for the next generation of air traffic control in the United States that replaces radar and looks to use satellite-based technology. And we are working very closely with companies like Boeing and Lockheed and Raytheon and GE Aviation and SpaceX and a number of others that are helping us develop this next model for the country to implement. So we're excited about that. A lot of people don't fully realize the extent of the relationship between universities and the creation of new businesses and new industry. For example, Stanford and the work that was being done by faculty and students there provided the impetus for the creation of Silicon Valley. We feel that Embry-Riddle is poised to become one of the next generation aerospace parks. That is our niche. We are probably doing it better than just about anybody else in the world, and we feel that we can be successful with this important initiative. The research park actually will not only incorporate that aspect, but will go beyond to research in unmanned aerial vehicles and biofuels and some of the things that I mentioned previously. We feel that this can be a wonderful initiative for this great community. We feel that it will create high-tech jobs, that it will bring people here to do research with our wonderful PhD faculty and with the enjoyment with the R&D groups from these large aerospace companies. And this will be a wonderful economic boom for Daytona Beach.